I'm so tired of white people being able to be mediocre. Y'all are so incompetent.
You don't care about health. You are fatphobic.
I have been misgendered 3 times in the past 24 hours at restaurants.
Can we talk about how miserable white people are for a second?
Hey guys, it's Misha and welcome back to my channel. So you may know by now that with every year there are new rules added to the rule book on how not to offend anybody. So we know that silence is violence, for example. Also, giving compliments, that's violence. You can't braid your hair as a white person, that's racist. You can't work out, that's fatphobic. You can't have dating preferences, that would be problematic. Just naming a few. So I thought today we would review some of these wild takes in preparation for the new year so that we can do better.
Can I be honest with y'all for a second? White women calling black women and femmes queen is really starting to sound like a microaggression to me.
So as I just said, we're pressing people with compliments because saying queen, right, that's like a funny way of showing admiration for someone. Yes, queen, you look so good. To lift someone up in a fun way. Apparently not. Apparently it's racist. Here is a response to this video.
A microaggression to me.
Be quiet. Women are catty, competitive, and mean, and what we're not going to do is take the moments where we're actually supporting one another and turn them into something ugly. Why does white women supporting black women bother you? Why do you assume that black women will be offended or aggravated or upset by another white woman calling her queen? We go back to the 90s. I feel like we just didn't care in the 90s. Literally no one cares. Everybody calls everybody queen. But you, who is so triggered by unity, has to come in and disrupt things and cause division. When did it become okay to make white people the ultimate boogeyman? As if white people are the only people on the planet with a sense of agency and everyone else is just lacking. It's racism. I swear, this new generation is creating new ways to be racist. Why are y'all so obsessed?
I absolutely love her response. I wasn't born yet in the 90s, but I remember maybe let's say 2010 when I was a kid and then when I was a teen, like no one focused on race this much. It's really sad because even with this first woman, right, if she has kids, let's say, that's the kind of conversation that she's going to have with them. Oh, white people can say this, they can't say that, black people can say this, and they might be offended by this. First of all, who are you to decide that? Second of all, it's like we've become so obsessed with race. I don't remember this being a problem. When I was a kid, you would hang out with another kid if you got along, right? If you wanted to hang out with them, if you wanted to have a play date. No one was sitting at the lunch table dissecting each other's identities. Oh, what are you? We had Hispanic kids, Asian kids, black kids, mixed kids. No one cared. And I feel like going into the new year, we should actually try and be more like even 10 years ago, right? People cared about race way less. And if you don't want to be racist, you actually should focus on race less. Why is there a push to constantly focus on it? That is going to have the opposite effect that you want, or maybe not. Maybe you do want everyone to hate each other.
Can we talk about how miserable white people are for a second? Like, you know that white people are miserable, right? Like, have you ever looked a white person in the eye, even if they're like a big mental health person? You just look deep down and you're like, brother, you are not happy at all. We lack internal congruence. Now, congruence is a concept we learned early in grad school to help people heal. So like white people who deny patriarchy and capitalism's negative effect and oppression of the world and genocide that's happening around the world, like that's incongruent with reality. That is going to have an effect on us internally because we're all suffering under capitalism and white supremacy. Like it affects us different ways in intersectionality, but like it affects us white people too.
I almost fell asleep, but that was kind of funny, so that woke me up. What? And in the comments, I've always wondered why they so angry. This makes sense. Hope you reach the right people with this message. He calls white people porcelain demons. His idea is that a specific race, an entire race, lacks internal congruence, and that's why they're miserable. But just because a white person doesn't buy into this hyper woke narrative of societal systems, that does not mean that they're suffering internally because of capitalism and patriarchy. And that's why when you look a white person in the eyes, you can tell they're just suffering because of that. I mean, what are you on? Genuinely. Now, you can go and sit in a circle with other white people and talk about how much you hate being white, but I don't think it's going to make you feel better, actually, right? There seems to be a disconnect, and I do think you're suffering, and it's sad, but this is a very strange thing to say. It's a very us versus them mentality. And normal people of any race, white, black, Asian, doesn't matter, they find meaning, joy in family, in friends, in community, in faith, in their jobs sometimes, right? Hobbies, not assigning endless blame on everyone else. The system, it's the system. Yeah, no wonder you feel miserable, but don't go out here saying every white person, you just look them in the eyes. Sounds like a you problem. Please speak for yourself.
I'm so tired of white people being able to be mediocre. like bottom of the barrel mediocre. Like y'all get away with doing a nothing. I mean, I'm not gonna say bare minimum. I'm gonna say nothing. Like nothing. If it don't apply, shut your mouth. However, comma. You want to know how I healed from my imposter syndrome? I looked around and saw how incompetent my white peers were. Like, y'all are so incompetent. Like, y'all barely give anything at all. And I'm tired of not saying it. Like, where is the flavor? Where is the creative energy? Like, why is it that you just replicate and water down everything that we do? That's it. I'm gonna leave it there. I'm gonna keep it cute, cause.
So right off the bat, I'm gonna have to disagree with his attempt to generalize an entire race. And I believe that every person, regardless of their race, has inherent value, an ability to create, to contribute to society, regardless of where you are around the world. However, this seems like you have skipped out on a history lesson or two by claiming that all white people are bland, incompetent, lack creativity. You seem to have forgotten who created the phone, for example, that you're using to film this video on, the countless white artists, composers, inventors that have shaped our culture, technology throughout history. So how about you actually try and keep it cute next time, because ignorance is not cute.
That's it. I'm gonna leave it there. I'm gonna keep it cute.
What's an acceptable number of braids we can wear in our hair without it being cultural appropriate?
One, like this one. I think that's acceptable.
Hair is hair. People have been braiding hair across every culture. Vikings, ancient Greeks, Native Americans. You can braid your hair, right? Regardless of your race.
So it's the fact that she even has to ask, y'all, it's not cultural appropriation, it's cultural appreciation. We need to stop this. Why can't white women wear braids? We straighten our hair, we wear blonde wigs, we wear blue eye contact, some of us. So I don't get what's the problem.
Exactly. So here's a TikTok audio.
Her song Friday is the worst song I've ever heard in my entire life. Even deaf people are complaining.
And here's this person's response to this audio.
If you use this audio, you're contributing to casual ableism. Able-bodied people like to only bring up blindness and deafness whenever there's a negative connotation attached to it, or things like this audio. It takes 2 seconds to realize how this audio can be ableist. But no, able-bodied people can't leave deaf and blind people alone for 2 seconds.
What? The comments. This is satire, right? They're not gonna hear it. Bro, I'm literally half blind. It's not ableist. This audio is exaggerating how bad the song is. It's called humor. It's not even trying to mock deaf people. But it must be hard constantly looking for a reason to be offended. You can totally have a preference of not dating fat people. It's still fatphobic though. Is fatphobic a bad word? Look how she has to censor it. Attraction is personal. It's not fatphobic. It's not skinny phobic or tall phobic or short phobic or racist if you have a specific race that you tend to be more attracted to. These are all preferences. Everyone has things that they're drawn to, and it's extremely creepy to try and force guilt on someone for not being attracted to you, right? That's not gonna work. If you work out because you want your body to look a certain way, you don't care about health. You are fatphobic. Keeping your body healthy, or at least trying to keep your body healthy, is not fatphobic, it's being responsible. And it's okay to want to date someone that works to keep their body at a healthy weight.
Intentional weight loss, so you purposely saying, I want to lose 20 pounds, is fatphobic.
I personally am afraid of being fat. I'm afraid of developing diabetes and increasing my chances of nerve damage and amputation. I'm afraid of developing heart issues that might put me in the hospital or worse.
The gender neutral term for aunt and uncle is actually pibbling.
That sounds terrible.
So one of the biggest surprises that's come out of my transition to this point is just how hot I consider myself to be. When I look in a mirror, I see a woman, and not just any woman, a fucking gorgeous woman.
I think it's one thing to feel good about yourself and be confident. This did come off a little bit narcissistic though, but that's not even the point. If you then think that the world has to agree that you are a hot woman, no one has to affirm those statements that you've made about yourself. As long as we're on the same page, great. Lily Tino.
I have a 7-year-old daughter who has socially transitioned about a year and a half ago. She's transitioned at school. Everything's been great. We attend support groups. She's been seeing a gender affirming therapist for a year and a half.
The nods. Yeah, no, that's great. Yeah, gender affirming therapist at 7.
She doesn't have anyone trans around her or knows anyone who is like her.
Where do you find other trans kids that your trans kid can be a friend with? If you're asking this question, other parents are asking this question, right? Probably the thing that helped me most was having other trans friends.
You know, at this age, age, when kids are struggling to decide between chicken nuggets and mac and cheese, they're looking for guidance and stability, not more confusion from parents telling them, yeah, you might be a boy, you might be a girl, let's take you to a gender-affirming therapist, let's socially transition you at 7 years old. And here we have Lily Tino agreeing and saying, no, this is a great idea, find other trans kids. I mean, I'm always surprised by just how much worse these videos can get from Lily. And they always get worse. They always do.
So you're the person who thinks they can always tell when someone's trans, huh? Okay, well, let's put that to the test. Starting with this man. Handsome, good hair.
Trans, 100%.
Yes, George Evans is a trans man and a lovely human being. What about this woman? Lovely skin?
Trans.
Yes, Jamie Pandit is indeed a trans woman. Now, what about this woman?
That's Josh, not trans.
There are women with beards and short hair, but it's actually a cisgender man, Josh Sider, who pretends to be trans and black in order to own the libs. Good luck to you, Josh. Now, what about this man?
It doesn't even have anything to do with the facial features. In this one, it's the piercing. It's the septum piercing. Trans man. Fine, great, but it gives me a clue, just saying.
Is a trans man. What about this woman?
That's Kim Petras. Yes, trans.
Transgender pop star from Germany named Kim Petras. How about this person? This looks like a person who is exploring their gender and sexuality, someone who maybe has a feminine spirit inside of them that they're slowly starting to let out.
And no, it doesn't. It looks like a regular man in a Halloween costume.
And while that may be true, this is in fact a photo of J.D. Vance, the next vice president of the United States.
He wore a wig. I hate him. Is that how Lily thinks? That if you show that picture, that people will have like a meltdown? Oh no, J.D. Vance was in a wig. Oh no, I hate him. I literally hate him now. I don't care. Who would care about this? This is so crazy to me. That you thought this was, yeah, I got you there.
Despite this photo, JD wants you to know that he is definitely not queer in any way, shape, or form, okay?
Wait, did you just assume someone's sexuality or gender identity based on how they look? I thought you were just preaching that we shouldn't do that, and you just did that to JD Vance. I got all of them right. I didn't get a single wrong.
If the men find out we can shapeshift, they're going to tell the church.
Wow, what a transformation.
I have been misgendered 3 times in the past 24 hours at restaurants. Last night, I was at Benihana with my girlfriend, and the server said, "What about you, sir? What would you like to eat?" And just a few minutes ago, I was at another restaurant for lunch, and they showed me my seat and said, "Here you go, sir." And I said, "I am not a sir." And then I left because I wasn't comfortable anymore. And I went to a new restaurant, and I asked, before I sit down, where's the bathroom, please? And they said, "Oh, it's right this way, sir." And I just left because I wasn't comfortable anymore. If you're a server in the food industry, you don't need to use words like sir or ma'am.
So most restaurant servers are just trying to get through their shift. They don't have time to play the guessing game with you. They look at you and they make a quick judgment based on what they see. They're not there to be your friend or your therapist. And this just shows how entitled and narcissistic you really are, that you would take the time out of your day and their day and try and correct them when they're just trying to do their job. At the end of the day, though, if you are secure in who you are, this wouldn't shake you the way it seems to every time.
Our server said, "Yes, sir," when I was asking some questions, and I said, "Oh, no, I'm actually not a sir."
Which, by the way, does say a lot, doesn't it, if this happens to you every single day. This is like the 20th video of you getting misgendered at a restaurant. Is it everyone else that's the problem? That they're not seeing a beautiful trans woman here? Or perhaps you have to change something? Or just stop being so offended. If you're constantly looking for a reason to be offended, you'll find it and you'll exhaust yourself. I recommend leaving the victimhood mentality in the past, but you guys let me know what you think in the comments below. Also remember to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye.